you're writing that, do you release it anywhere, or are you writing for just yourself?
Yeah, I've got a few tracks out there that you can find basically everywhere. Just under my name. Last name's Bliven.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
I'd love to check it out.
yeah, I actually one of the tracks I have Derek Sherinian's on it.
Ooh,
So
Oh, cool.
Wow.
yeah. So came out pretty good. I'm
Very
pretty happy
important.
with it. So
Okay.
can't wait to hear
Fantastic.
it. You want to put it in the chat?
yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, please do. I'd love to check that out. How did you get connected with Derek?
Well, over the pandemic, he started, I think he's still doing it. He just said he's accepting MP3s and he'll play
Yeah,
on your
very cool.
stuff. So I just happened to be working on something at the time and that I had keys in that I did. I'm not a keyboard player, but I was like, well, I'll send it to him. And he did it really quick.
Wow.
That's
And it came
awesome.
out
As one
pretty
might
good.
expect. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Man.
So
Congrats.
thank you.
That's what we hope, that you meet us for Guitar Club and we all share what we're doing and support each other and encourage each other. That's what
Cool.
it's about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, um, so we, so for tonight we sort of decided that we were gonna kind of approach it without a specific plan. And when I say that, Julie and I have access to like tons and tons of material that we can send over if you want to. But we've been kind of thinking that the last few sessions, that we've done, we're not always sure that we're sort of, serving the club the best way possible. So as a teacher, one of the things that I like to do is to just kind of, start a class off with just some kind of a warm-up exercise that just says, that just gives us something, gives our brain and our fingers and our, and our spirit just a chance to sort of connect with the instrument for a few minutes as a way of warming up. And when I was walking in here, one of the things I was thinking about was, for me, a lifelong process has been to just get to know the instrument. One of the things I often talk with my students about is just this idea that, like, when I'm improvising, I don't really consciously think about what I'm doing, but if you were to freeze time and ask me what note I was playing, I might not be able to answer you immediately, but I usually can answer fairly quickly, and I can usually describe what my general thought process is in that moment. Now, to give an analogy to that, it's sort of like when you're telling a story and you use a long word in the middle of the story, you don't consciously think about the individual letters. You just kind of say the word, right? But then if somebody says, what's the fifth letter of the word avuncular? Like, you could probably come up with it, but you'd have to think through it.
What is it, John?
AVUNC.
C.
C.
Good
Yeah.
job.
Thank you. Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a similar, to me, it's a similar kind of a logic. And part of it is because, what I don't want to do is I don't want to fill my brain with unnecessary information, things I'm not going to use. But it is useful. Like, if you're in the middle of working something out, it's like, okay, I'm playing over an A flat major chord. What's the third of A flat? Okay, C. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to get to that quickly, and I want to be able to find any C on the instrument as quickly, fairly quickly, right? So, if you're willing, what I was gonna say was, learning the notes on the instrument. First of all, raise your hand if you feel like, I've got the instrument mastered. I can go anywhere on the fretboard and immediately know what note I'm playing, no matter where it is. Raise your hand if that's you. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, good. So that's one of us. Okay, so I'm still working on it. I can get.
Yeah, I don't know about mastered, but
Yeah. Okay.
I can tell you pretty quickly, though. I'd say.
Okay. There's Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
All right. I see you got the game on. Who's winning?
Barry's here too.
Okay. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Barry. We can't see you, but
Yeah, you can
You
either
are
leave the
very
video
welcome.
off, but if he wants to see you, that's here he is.
there's Barry.
Hi, Barry.
Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Okay, so let's so that when I work on, every once in a while I'll take a minute and sort of check in with how well I know the instrument, okay, or know the notes on the instrument. And one of the ways I'll do is I'll give myself a little bit of a challenge, okay. So for example, an easy challenge is to name all the notes at the 11th fret.
Ooh.
Okay, who can do it? Okay, go ahead, Dana.
Sorry, just had to unmute. So it's E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B flat, and E flat.
Right. So good. So that's a little bit of a trick question because all it is just all the open strings, the word flat. Okay. Now, another way to do it is to see how long it takes you to find all of the A flats on the instrument.
I like to do it when I set the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So who's got that one? Okay, Dana can do it. Who else? Okay, Mark, you got it?
Yep.
All right, go ahead. Show me all the A flats.
Ready, go.
Which one of us?
Okay, and
Mark's doing it.
yeah.
Here we go. I missed that one.
Yay.
So I don't have it connected.
Yeah, it's okay. That's fine.
We heard it actually.
So,
Yeah.
another thing to do is to pick a fret and name all the notes across. Another way is to there's a variety of ways to do it. You can sort of go diagonally across the neck and just name all the notes, and the more that you do that, you start to get more of a lay of the land, and it doesn't mean it's going to automatically solve everything, but what it speeds up is those moments when you're saying, okay, I'm looking for, I'm playing over an A chord, and we're looking for the third of the chord. Third of the chord is C sharp. Where's C sharp? Here it is, and I can either play here, 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 or here, right? So, and by the way, the way that I organize those is I start at the top. Let's see. If I was going to do C sharp, what I would do is I would start with the lowest C sharp I could play, right? So these two in that octave. Okay, then I'm going to play it an octave higher. Okay, then I'm going to play it an octave higher. Okay, and then finally, and then.
Oh wow.
So.
Are we allowed to bend? That would
yeah.
be good to know what note you're bending to
Yeah.
at any moment.
Yeah, and and that's the other thing too, is that one of the things that like a few years ago, Guitar for the Practicing Musician used to do these guitar transcriptions, and one of the things that they used to do that would drive me crazy was they would notate the pitch that you finger, but not the pitch that you bend to.
Oh right.
And that they would indicate that with what kind of bend it was. So for example, for something like this, what they would often what they would notate is they would indicate a G, which is what you finger, and then indicate that it's a whole step bend. But to
It's
me,
so different. There's different ways to do it. And
yeah, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but to me, the what's important is that I'm playing an A.
I
Right?
prefer the A.
Yeah.
Don't you?
I'm right there with you, John. I've always had trouble with transcriptions, not specifically with what the pitch you're bending to, but the phrasing of how you're getting to that pitch.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that when you're reading transcriptions, very often it's a bit like walking into a dance studio looking at all the numbered feet. You know what I mean? Like you can put your feet in the right positions in the right sequence, and you'll get something that roughly simulates the dance that they're trying to explain. But it's not really it until you sort of get what's underneath it, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know, my teacher Bill Levitt used to have a great saying: reading music is the process of playing by ear the music that you see on the page. You know,
So
and
you
he
see
was
it and you hear it and then you play it,
Right.
basically. Oh.
right. So so for him, you're not really reading until you're looking at the black dots, and you're hearing the sound in your head as you're playing it. You know, and that what you're playing sort of reinforces the music you're already hearing in your head. You know, which that's kind of a different thing than what you would expect the sensation of reading music to be like. You know, anyway, so just in in 5 or 10 words, what are each of you working on right now? Barry, what about you? What are you working on right now?
Actually,
And if there's
not,
anything else I can help you with, go ahead.
yeah, no, not too much actually. I've been actually looking at some True Fire stuff
Okay.
and going through Josh Smith's stuff, trying to learn some of that. So it's pretty intimidating, but yeah, trying to work on the all the little articulations he does and stuff.
Okay.
So that's kind of fun. So, but no
Okay.
specific plans of anything. That's kind of the latest.
Yeah. Good. Good.
stuff.
Okay. So yeah. So the stuff in the video you find, like in the courses, you find useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
find
yeah.
those courses. Oh, good.
Oh
Good.
yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Really.
Okay. Now, what about you as a player? Like, what are you trying to get better at?
I don't know. I just retired,
Okay.
so I started to pick the guitar back up again.
Wonderful.
I just do it at home, play around with. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go
nothing
with you to try to
specific.
get better. All right.
Yeah.
Just get better.
Cool. Good.
Just
That's,
enjoy the
Yeah.
process.
okay.
It's
Yeah.
a
now-
fun place to be.
all right. Awesome. Mark, what about you?
Everything. That's so
Okay.
funny. Well, I'm trying to work on Jack's music, so that's very difficult for me.
Okay. So you're
Um,
going to learn his tunes.
Yeah, I got a couple tablatures that I just start working with, and then his videos. So I'm trying to do that because I'm really enjoying his playing. So trying to see if I can get that inside me, like we do
Nice.
for everyone else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm working on pixelanting. I've been working on that for a while. It's still taking me a while.
So tell me what. So by the way, for those of you who don't know, so Mark is talking about an artist named Jack Thamarat, who is from where's he from? He's from Thailand.
Thailand.
Thailand. Okay, so really great instrumental rock player. Ton of chops. Writes really great, really melodic. I would say, sort of Joe Satriani, but kind of maybe with maybe some more sophistication in a different way, I guess.
How do you spell the last name?
Eric Johnson. It's actually they're THAMMARAT, but their TH is not TH. It's with a hard T.
Oh, so Tamarat.
Yeah.
Camera.
Like they have Phuket, and it's with the PH, and people pronounce it wrong. They don't have the f.
Okay.
It's a hard P.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know almost nothing about Thai culture. Other than
We know to pronounce it Thai.
yeah, I know it's I know how to
Thai
pronounce
food.
the word Thailand. Yeah.
We have a wonderful restaurant down here in Whitman
Yeah.
called Thai All Seasons, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and I think actually the family that runs it is actually a Thai family. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so Mark, tell me what pixelanting is.
All right. So I kind of didn't know. We all know it. We just don't know we know it.
Okay.
Okay. So pixelanting is when you're on one string and you go up and back and forth, right? Alternating
Yep.
picking.
Yep.
If you stop, you're in between the string, correct?
Yep.
You're caught. Remember this situation. If I'm down, pick slant downward. When I pick on the even, and I pick up, it releases my I don't know if you can see it. Releases the pick, so I can jump to the next string in the same motion.
Oh.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Like a
So there's a
50-50?
downward pick slanting and there's an upward pick slanting. And some of our famous artists stick with one, and some of them work two. And there's like an even odd. So
The inside outside picking sort of thing, like
exactly the John
There's this
Petrucci
idea,
thing or whatever all those people are talking about. I think I picked it up from
Mark. I was just going
Frank
to say,
Campbell,
there's-
Frank Gambale.
Oh.
I think I first picked it up seeing that.
Okay.
the
But then-
idea being, John, that as you're playing a sequence of notes, if you're releasing from the string, you're kind of coming up this way off of the string, away from the body of the guitar, so that you're perfectly
yeah.
positioned for the
If
next
you
string.
downstroke, 1, 2, 3, 4, going down, up, down, up, down, up. Your up releases the hand up higher, as opposed to if 1, 2, 3. If I stayed on the odd, starting with downward picking, I'm caught in between the string. If I'm on one string, no problem. You can just go all the way through, right?
Right.
But if I want to switch, you got to hop, right?
Right.
So if you have the correct downward or upward slant picking, there is no hop.
Okay.
Of course, there's other ways
Really
around
more
it.
efficient.
You can sweep. So what happens is now the picking technique that I started working on suddenly becomes a whole big circle now of wait a minute. Let me reanalyze this. I'm doing this all wrong, and this is why I'm struggling with these riffs.
Aha.
The puzzle of economy of motion, right?
Exactly. But you can pick your way that feels comfortable for you, and the solution is on some of the ways is a sweep or with an upstroke instead. So there's a little quick video. I mean, this guy named Troy Grady, he has this whole series out. It's like
That's the one I was thinking of, Troy Grady.
Right.
Thing on
But
yep.
he explains too long. All right. There's a guy named Ben Eller, Eller, and he has. I can send you guys if you guys message me somehow. He has like a 10-minute video, and he really got that camera right on it, and
So
it
Ben
just
Eller?
hits
You
you.
could put it in
It
the
just hits
chat.
you, and you're like, wow, wait a minute, this is awesome.
Wonderful.
And he gives you
His,
one
uh,
exercise or two, and you're
His
like,
lesson
this
stuff is fantastic, Mark. Absolutely. His
Yeah.
Ben Eller's stuff is fantastic. Yeah.
Mm.
Thanks for sharing. Cool. That's why I love Guitar Club, because we can talk about things like this that we're excited about.
I'm excited to be here. I hope you hear me clearly because everything's all. Sorry to mess. I'm under construction for the last 2 years.
Oh, no
Oh,
worries.
so-
We're not even looking at that. We're talking guitars.
Yeah. Exactly.
So let me see if I can. Does anybody happen to have a video link? If you have a link and you want to
Okay.
share it, put it in the chat. So,
Okay.
cool.
Actually, I've got one here.
If you've ever worked on improving your
Yeah, I threw my link into that
Okay.
track with Derek on it.
Okay.
Great. Yes, we all want to hear that.
All right.
Liam has an awesome tune. Put the link for YouTube in there.
Nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
So nice to meet
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I mean, we've met. I don't think I've ever met you in person,
No, I don't believe so.
but I've seen you playing.
I met Mark. I met Mark many moons ago. It was down the Cape somewhere, right? At some music store.
No. I took a lesson from you from the Guitar Doctor in Holbrook.
Oh wow!
Oh wow! So that's going back.
You're probably, 82 maybe? Or before? I don't even know.
And yeah, it'd
Wow.
be later than '82, but yeah, because the Guitar Doctor. When I first moved to Holbrook in 1982, and about a year later, there was a guy that opened up a music store where the Guitar Doctor ended up. The Guitar Doctor took it over. I think about like 3 or 4 years later.
On Route 18.
No, it was on
On
Route
the-
139.
Oh,
No, Route 37.
On 37.
Yeah.
Yes.
In
There was
Holbrook,
one
Mass.
place before, and then he moved to the corner of 37 and 139 area, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and then and then years later, he sold that and then put it in a barn in his house, and then finally moved to where he is now.
Yeah, he's in Whitman.
Yeah,
yeah. He's
Yeah, right
just
down the
right up
street
the
from us.
road from us.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's a good guy, but I don't know if you heard about he had a kind of a terrible motorcycle accident a few years ago.
Yes, he had a bad accident. But last time I saw him, he seemed pretty functional and really good. I was really proud to
Good,
see how
good,
it was
good.
doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, very.
We go way back. Wow.
Yeah. So, Leah, what about you? What are you working on right now?
Like I was saying earlier, just I'm kind of working on just writing some stuff. I'm always trying to write and get more stuff out there.
Okay.
I want to try to get like an album of material. I've got so many different things. Like I have 3 songs now that are kind of more, I don't know, jammy, not too jazzy, but kind of, like
Kind of jazzy.
kind of jazzy, but I don't know.
Nothing wrong
Seventh
with
chords
jazzy.
and whatnot in it. So
Yeah.
I love
so those all kind of fit together, but then I have some stuff that's more maybe metal edged, and then I've got some other stuff that's, I don't know, kind of straight ahead rock. Like if you check out that link, you can check out some of the other stuff that I have out there,
Okay.
and all of those are kind of different. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
know,
I
That's
just
a good thing.
listen. You're talking to the guy on the planet with the shortest attention span ever with respect to styles. If you've heard any of my records,
oh yeah, I've got them all.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yay.
they kind of run the gamut stylistically.
Yeah.
And they always have. And that's there's part of me that thinks it's a good thing, and part of me thinks it's a terrible thing, and I haven't made up my mind yet.
Right.
For
Yeah.
guitarists, though, we're so curious, and there's such good music out.
Right.
Such a variety. I mean, how can you just stick with one
Exactly.
day
Yeah.
where we can have any song that's ever been on the planet?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It can't be that terrible, John, because remember, it's through you that I learned about Chet Atkins. So
Right.
That's
if you had
right.
never gotten into that style, I wouldn't have gotten into it. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it, is being able to play different styles.
Yeah.
And then our students show us nice things.
That's
too.
also true.
It's
Yeah,
neat
that's
to
cool.
see that.
Okay, so Liam, my question to you: how do you know that you're done with a song when you're writing it? When do you say to yourself, "Okay, I'm done"?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been trying to get better at that, because I have probably way more than an album's worth in all different styles. Yeah, it's like I'll get an idea down and then I'll start working on it. I think a lot of it comes to production too. It's like I'm still just trying to get better at that. So
Yep. Are you recording everything at home?
yep. So
I'm
all that
using
stuff
it
hangs me up because I'm constantly messing with it. And then I come up with another idea and I'm like, oh, I got to get that idea down. And then sometimes I'll just start messing with it and it'll just flow, and I'll,
Right.
something will happen. And it's like, okay, now I have another half of a song. It's like,
Right.
so I got to go back and finish them all up. But
Have you ever
the
thought
3
of
songs I
working-
was talking about that are jammy, kind of jazzy ones, they're done
Yeah.
for the most part. I mean, I might tweak the melodies a little more so they're not just staying the same, or I might mix it up, but for the most part they're done.
Right. Good.
So
Good. Yeah. Because one of the processes that I go through, and this is the most torturous part of it, is that like once I sort of get once I start to get some momentum on a tune, there's a point when I start going, oh my God, like I've got like 100 ideas of things I can throw at it, and so I'll just start throwing 100 things at it, and then at some point, now the tune is like 25 minutes long, and I'm thinking to myself, like, there's like way too much stuff here. It's like it kind of goes back to my short attention span. So,
right.
so then one of the things I have to start doing is saying, and this is the hardest part for me for my writing process, is I have to go through the tune and ask myself if every last little thing that's in it really needs to be there, and can the tune survive it if I cut that part. And that's really hard sometimes, because sometimes it means I have to cut parts I really like.
But then they
Yeah.
can be new songs.
But then hopefully what's left is like a
coherent
tune
piece.
that feels kind of more focused.
Right.
And it's not always the case, but that's just to me that's always the hardest part of it. And then finally, you know, like, and the worst part of it is that I'll record it and then I'll start gigging. And then after I've been gigging for a little while, like some other thing will sort of come into play and I'll start playing it differently than I recorded it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? And then it's like,
That's
oh, you know, so, you know, there's a great old line that the tune's finished when you're ready to let go of it.
Right.
Why they say release.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't get it down and put it away, then it can go on forever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
true. You can always improve something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Dana, what about you? What are you working on? What are you trying to get better at?
I'm still working on that kind of stuff we talked about in the last class. It's kind of some Barry Harris stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to that, I'm trying to spend a lot of time working on my ear.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a lot of ear training.
Are you doing transcriptions or just listening, learning?
Yep. Yeah, I've been transcribing. Actually, I've been going back and transcribing a lot of Charlie Christian.
Really?
Wonderful.
I just feel like, because you know, the people I like a lot, like Wes Montgomery and stuff, and Pat Martino, they, you know, in their interviews, they would talk a lot about how Charlie Christian was quite an influence, you know, and almost like he was like the Bach of jazz guitar. And
Yeah.
You know what I found out
those
recently?
lines. I'm sorry.
I found out recently that he was the very first guitar player to record with a pickup.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Isn't that amazing?
he's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, he really is.
I mean, and you know, another guy who died young and just was only like active for a very brief period of time, but you know,
Made an impact.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been doing a lot of that.
Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
great. That's great. You know, one of the things now, one of the principles. There's a class I teach at Berkeley called Rock Improv Techniques, and the crux of the class is that every week, you know, every student has to come in with an 8-bar transcription. Like they pick a solo that they're working on, and they have to bring in 8 bars of a written transcription of whatever solo they're working on, and then they have to perform it. And you know, one of the things that I want them to work on, you know, is the idea is not only how to play it, but also talk to me about why did this player play this particular thing in this instance, you know. And even more important than that is that, like, if you transcribe somebody else's solo, you know, like, why would you bother to go through that trouble unless you're going to pull something out of it that's going to be useful, you know? And you know, for me, I've always seen it as a good opportunity to sort of get in that player's head and think about like some of the things. It's like, okay, why did this player play this? You know, okay, well, he was kind of messing around with this particular idea, and this was how he did it. So if I was to do an imaginary alternate version of that, you know, that's a good game to play sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like if you think about, you know, the Stairway to Heaven solo. Right? So what's kind of interesting is that he starts by playing in a series of 2-bar phrases, and the only time he leans on the note F is when the band's playing an F chord. So, right? Right?
And then you can see it when it's written on the page.
Right.
Compared to the chord, you can really see how they're interacting with the harmony.
Right.
Nice.
Then, you know, then as the solo plays itself out, you know, you realize it's like 2-bar phrase, 2-bar phrase, 2-bar phrase, 2-bar phrase, 4-bar phrase. You know, and it's like that's kind of the moment in the tune where it starts to really kind of feel like it's building up a little bit. The drummer hits this big fill, and then now it's kind of roaring a little bit more. You know, so like that, the whole idea of like holding off on playing a 4-bar phrase until that moment is part of the payoff of that.
Yeah.
Right? So to turn in a better improvisation, something like that's useful to know about. Okay.
Sometimes it doesn't occur to us.
Yeah. Let's see. There's that tune. Cheap Sunglasses. Right. So. Right. So what's interesting about that is that if you if you count your way through that solo, most of the time he's starting every phrase on the end after two. So 1, 2, ba da ba ba ba, 1, 2, ba da 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 ba da ba, 1, ba da ba ba ba, and then every once in a while he'll start on the 4th 16th note of beat 1, right? But it's usually one of those two entrances, and it's not until you actually write it out and count your way through it, it's like, he's being like really consistent about that. So, but then when you hear him do it, it just sounds like he's just kind of tossing it off. But it's just somehow cooler than us. Right? Have you ever
Not in a different way.
Yeah. So, that's always the thing. It's like, what can I do to sort of decode this solo so I can figure out what magic sauce this player is using?
Yeah. Did you find something about Charlie Christian that he does consistently through tunes?
Oh yeah, probably the big one I noticed a lot is he. It's almost like he plays minor 7-flat-5 arpeggios from a dominant chord. A common phrase of his is to start. So if he's on C7, then he would play something from the third. He would play a minor 7-flat-5. So he does that.
And that's the same concept we were talking about before, the family of three, or
right, the family of four, exactly.
Family of four.
That idea that
you're not going to start on the root. If you start on the third and play a different arpeggio, then it's going to have all those tensions and fun things against the chord that we normally wouldn't get if we just play the root or the chord tones in an arpeggio. Yeah, very.
The fact he was doing that, in the 40s.
Mind blowing.
Yeah,
way back when.
Incredible.
So cool.
Yeah. So that's cool. So Dustin, what about you? What are you working on?
Well, let me interject really quickly with a question, John. I was going to ask, based on what you were just talking about, when you're transcribing from another artist, is there any particular thing that you do or any process that you do in order to add something to your lexicon, your style from that player that you like?
Well,
or is it just an organic process of learning their stuff and internalizing something without really thinking about it?
Well, after I transcribe something, one of the things that I started asking myself is, why do I think this player made these choices? Am I noticing any particular pattern, that's happening within this solo that I might not have noticed if I didn't transcribe it? Okay, and a lot of times if I start looking for things like, where in the measure does the soloist like to start the phrases? Are they always starting on beat 1? Are they starting on the starting as a pickup? Are they starting on beat 2? Where is it? Right. Another thing that I'm starting to that I start looking for is sort of comparing the note that they're playing against the chord that they're playing over. Mm-hmm. And is the player, how much do I think the player is taking that into consideration as they're working through their phrases? Now, I'll tell you, the one solo that really got me started in that was Jeff Beck's "Come Dancing" solo.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because if you know that solo, if you listen to it, it has this sound to it that makes it sound like he just kind of just sort of tossed off a bunch of notes and kind of
Yep.
you know, threw them at the fretboard, and somehow it just sounds good. You know,
Way to describe it. Yeah.
and when you ask him about it, he's like, I have no idea. I just play whatever I feel, man. You know, so then when I transcribed it, one of the things that came up, there's 2 chords in the tune. D minor 7, followed by B
this
flat.
it?
No, in the rock improv class, there's a transcription for it. You
Okay,
can-
I just want to
yeah.
take a look.
Okay, so it's 2 chords, D minor 7 to B flat 7. Okay, in fact, I've got a backing track that I can
Is it
throw.
solo from Jay?
Yeah, that's the backing track we used at the guitar camp, right?
Is
Yes.
this it, babe?
Yeah, that's
No.
that was my favorite part of that day was this backing track. Gentlemen, if you haven't heard this, you're gonna love this backing track.
Okay, let's hold on. I gotta take me a second to find it. So just 2 chords, D minor 7 and B flat. But what's kind of cool is that when he plays it, let's see, Come Dancing solo section. Okay. So.
Do you guys hear that okay?
Okay. Okay, anyway.
Poor John.
So, you know, when you listen to the solo, it's a great solo. You know,
Sure is.
but then if you actually look at the notation, do you want to put the link to that in?
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
Some really interesting phrasing and structure there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Just like at the end, where he's doing that sort of walking down the scale repetitiously.
yeah. So Julie's working on downloading the
Sure.
thing. She's going to put it in the chat in just a moment.
Right on.
those are the kinds of things you see.
Yeah, there it is.
He plays that A flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Over the
here's,
B flat
so here's
7.
something that's kind of interesting, is that over the D minor 7, he's just playing D minor. So D minor pentatonic. Okay. But then over the B flat 7, he's playing a D minor pentatonic flat 5, which is exactly what Dana was talking about before. Right? Playing a minor 7 flat 5 from the third of the chord. So if it's a B flat 7, you're playing a D minor pentatonic flat 5. So Julie, play a D minor 7 chord,
Okay.
right? Then a B flat 7. So what's cool about that is when you do it that way, only one note changes going from the D minor 7 to the B flat 7. Right? But if you're managing that effectively and listening for when the chords change from one to the next, and then just really, you know, sort of saying, making a conscious effort to play A natural over the D minor 7 chord or A flats over the B flat 7 chord,
Sure.
you know, and then phrase so that that makes sense, you know, in terms of managing the notes, the cool part about that is there's really only one note that changes.
It's exactly what we were talking about last session.
Yes. Yeah. But I think a big part of this is just becoming aware, that you have to be aware of what chord you're on at any given moment and what note you're playing, which is sort of what I was talking about at the beginning of this session was be aware, like see if you can, work on becoming more aware of what notes that you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I should also tell you that, like, when I'm in a particular key, in my head, I'm more likely to think in terms of the numeric relationship of the chord that I'm playing over the moment. So, in other words, if Julie plays an E flat chord, right, and I play the note G, my head doesn't think G. My head thinks 3. Right? Just because, it makes more sense for me to think through it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
We went through everybody's stuff. Now, what do you guys want to learn from us? Or do you want to just hang?
anybody want to try that track?
You want to try that?
Can we?
Learning right now everything.
Okay, all right.
That's awesome. So
Well,
yeah, it's a
John-
great way. Think the number. Think the third. I'm writing it down so I can remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have
So to your point, John, about thinking
thirds?
in those terms, one of the things that I've been working on in the last month is, exactly what we talked about at the guitar camp, kind of understanding the pentatonics and then thinking of the scales as the modes as pentatonic with an added tone. I'm still at the stage where I'm trying to go through each string pair and really internalize the pattern that you showed us.
Yes.
But after I get to that point where the pattern is internalized, I guess the question I have for you is how do you go about adding, subtracting tones to get the modes? How do you think about that yourself?
Extracting the well, see,
I'm sorry if I'm being vague on that one or not clear enough, but
yeah, I'm not entirely clear about what question you're. Okay, so
yeah.
The patterns that are given in any of the exercises that I write, what they're meant to do is to suggest a certain type of a sound.
Sure.
So at the end of the day, it's not whether or not you're playing the exercises are just basically like think of them as like as like an improvisational compass, which is sort of like, if you approach it this way, you'll get this kind of a sound.
Mhm.
And then what kind of sound do you want?
Right. Yeah, I apologize. I'm not articulating this the right way.
No, that's fine.
So, for instance, once I've internalized the patterns behind like an A minor pentatonic,
Okay.
then I want to, change that to an A mixolydian or an A Lydian by adding or subtracting tones from those patterns. I guess my question is, how do you go about thinking about adding or subtracting those tones to get those modal sounds?
Okay, so
Does that make a little more sense, or am I still
I
speaking?
think so, and I guess the answer that I would give to that is that I think I tend to think of it as like crayons in a box.
Mhm.
Okay, so like if we're talking about that minor pentatonic flat 5 sound,
Yeah.
that's a sound that's a sound that I'm going to use if I'm trying to get a dominant 7th chord sound.
Okay.
But so Julie, what chord? So you're playing B flat 7. So I would play D minor pentatonic flat 5. Right? Now if you play G7, okay? So that's going to be B minor pentatonic flat 5 because B is the 3rd of G.
Okay.
Right? So that's just sort of relating it to the chord I'm trying to play over.
Right.
To
Relating
me,
it to the harmony underneath.
right. So to me, that's a crayon in the box.
So you practice it over the chord. If you have a looper or with a backing track, then you get familiar with how it sounds and how it feels in your fingers.
Right.
So then when it comes up, you go, oh, I want that sound. Your hands just automatically go.
So that ties into another question I was going to have for you guys, which is I've been working this month on my ear training because I've realized in our conversations that's a bit of a deficit for me, is just not ultimately having that sound tied between my head and my fingers.
Yep.
And I guess my question was going to be what you do for ear training, but it sounds like just take a backing track and relate those chords, relate those scales to the chords that you're playing over.
Yeah.
Is that correct, or is there anything
Well,
else?
you start with playing the scales and then breaking it up into little tidbits. Or learning a song that has it. Like if you learn the Come Dancing, sometimes when you hear B flat 7, you might just go, oh, well, Jeff Beck did this. And then
The B flat 7, yeah.
just grab it because it's a lick you now have.
Right. Right.
Okay.
And, you know, and there's lots of things like that, you know. I think at the end of the day, it's kind of about just trying to get to, you know, like if you transcribe, you'll start noticing that different players prioritize certain things. You know, okay, so here's a case in point. Like, you know, if you listen to the two different solos that Duane Allman and Dickie Betts play over the song Blue Sky. Okay, so the song Blue Sky, you know, is E major followed by A. So, okay, so what's interesting is that when you listen to Duane playing over it, he tends to emphasize the fourth degree of the scale and the seventh. So he's playing a lot of major pentatonic. But then kind of leaning on the fourth sometimes. And then kind of gets to the seventh sometimes. Right? Now, the same thing, when it gets to Dickie Betts, he's gonna have a tendency to lean on the sixth a lot more. That's the sixth, right? Okay, and it's not that Duane never plays the six, and it's not that Dickie never plays the seven. It has to do with, you know, Dickie has a tendency to really lean into that six, where Duane has more of a tendency to really either lean into the four or the seven.
Yeah, it's more about the emphasis on either.
Yeah.
And it's a part of their style.
Yes, and you know, and that's one of the things that makes that's one of the things that sort of makes up each of their styles. You know, so if you start transcribing different players, you'll start to notice tendencies like that within their playing. You know, David Gilmour, you know,
You talk about the time solo.
Yeah, you talk about that time solo.
We did that a few months ago, didn't we?
Yeah, you remember doing that a few weeks ago?
For you gentlemen who haven't been on the calls before, go back and check out the website, because Julie, I think you guys still have the time solo transcription and analysis for download on the Guitar Club website.
Yeah, it's very enlightening.
Pretty revelatory.
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of and that's the thing. It's like if you start tearing apart some of the solos that you you really like, you know, there's probably some kind of logic underneath it that you can discover. You know, so that's one
Very
of the reasons
valuable.
why. Yeah, and if you can just sort of discover that little secret.
It's like on that second half of "Don't Take Me Alive" by Larry Carlton.
Right.
I think the chord progression's in C minor.
Yep.
Yeah.
The second half of it, he plays D minor pentatonic.
Yep.
What a great
you
What
know,
a great
got all those
song.
weird intervals over it. But it's
Yeah.
basically, if you think about it, it's just you're moving the hands up.
Yeah, that's right.
It's so funny that one came
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
That's such a brilliant solo. The first time Jim Kelly turned me onto that, and it was just like unbelievable when he kind of showed that to me, that's what was going on. It was like, wow.
Chords in that song are, just so breathtaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yep.
wonderful song.
Everyone heard it?
Don't Take Me
Don't
Alive by
Take Me
Steely
Alive,
Dan. Yeah.
Steely Dan, yeah.
I was actually supposed to see Larry Carlton play 2 nights ago here in Saratoga Springs, but unfortunately, someone in his band got COVID.
No.
John, you're not the only guitar player in the world with COVID, and we had to reschedule to January
Oh,
27th or
well, at
whatever.
least it's rescheduled now.
Yeah.
Remember in 2020, you never thought you were going to see anything ever again.
I know.
Yeah.
Luckily,
All right.
through all that, but
Okay. So. Okay, so listen, we're going to wrap it up for today. This has been good because a part of it is that we want to really be sure that we're serving the club
community.
the club the best way possible.
Mhm.
That's there's an old saying that the teacher learns twice as much as the student. And if you want to get so that's part of why I do it. I mean, it's part of why I do it is for selfish reasons. I'm trying to get better myself. So, if any opportunity I get to sort of interact with other players, that always helps me.
And for us, when we see articles that say, electric guitar is dead, nobody needs it anymore.
Yeah. Bull!
You can just put it in the box on a MIDI keyboard. It
Yeah.
just makes us even more put our heels in and say, they're people, we need to connect, and
Yeah,
we
so-
need to discuss and talk together all about guitar.
As a quick little thing, so Julie's going for her master's degree in songwriting.
Yay.
And so she's
Thank
about
you.
she's a little bit more than
2/3 done.
about 2/3 the way through the whole process, and so like once a week or once every 2 weeks something she has to turn in another recording, and one of them that she did, was a pretty protracted tune that had like a ton of guitar solos in it, and I don't mind telling you that she tore this stuff up like nobody's business.
Awesome.
And it was really great to sort of sit by and watch the fireworks, and then she turns it in and the teacher's like, oh, nobody cares about guitar anymore.
Well, I was asking her, we did one song and I changed the key for the guitar solo to
Right.
make it kind of,
yeah, of course.
But then I was listening to it going, the chorus isn't really standing out. And she said, you need to change the key for the chorus. Don't worry about the guitar solo. Nobody needs a guitar solo.
Right.
And then I was like,
And I'm
I'm going to change the key again for
Right.
the guitar solo. I'll change it for the chorus and then do the solo.
Yeah.
Shit, you.
And I'm over in the background. Put 'em up. Put 'em up.
Nobody says that about guitar solos.
That's right.
Not around here.
So,
Dang it.
okay. So one
Let's
of the
pick
things.
our next date.
So one of the things I was thinking about is for next time, what I think would be
January
really
2023.
cool.
Sheesh.
Yeah, we've been doing this for over a year now, guys. This is crazy.
Yeah,
amazing.
right on.
Coming up in a year and a half, actually.
Yeah.
It might be best on the 9th, but let's take a look and see what we have.
Okay. Oh, by the way, if any of you are interested, Julie and I are doing.
We're playing a gig
There's the gig,
January 19th
January 19th.
in
We also-
Cohasset.
Yep. We also have the workshop on the 28th.
We're doing another all day long John and Julie guitar workshop.
2.0.
Dustin went once, and
Yeah.
it's a
Highly
whole
recommended, guys.
day.
Highly recommended
You'll be
because
tired.
12 hours later, you're going to be bleeding out of your ears, but it'll be from the music, so it's all good.
What we do, we share 3 meals together. We learn a bunch of stuff. We play together, and then we have a full rhythm section that comes in, and we play live together.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So it's a whole day long extravaganza. I should probably put the
What date is that, guys?
It's
January 28th.
January 28th.
Got it. Oh, it's already in my phone. There you go.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of people that have expressed some interest. It's not cheap, but I will tell you.
I think it is for what you get.
Well, for considering what you get, yeah, that's true.
I would say it's very worth it from my experience of the last one.
Yeah, good.
Thank you, Dustin.
Well, thank you, Dustin. So if you or are interested, send us an email to either jfin@berkeley.edu,
I put the link in
or if you
chat.
know of somebody that might be interested, we're capping it off at a total of 6 students
Yeah,
because
we don't like to do, it's a lot of hands-on.
well, the big thing is that we want to make sure that everybody really comes away with what they came for.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So like to get it more than 6 students, then it becomes more difficult to kind of give the individual attention everybody deserves. So
Yeah.
And your meals are included in the price.
Yeah.
It's not macaroni and cheese.
Yeah.
either.
All right.
Unless you want mac
So
and
do we have a date for next time?
I'm thinking it's going to be January 9,
Okay.
Monday nights.
Does that work for everybody?
Sounds
You have a
pretty
me.
tree cleaning that day, though. Is that all right?
Yeah.
I think that's Jimmy Page's birthday, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, then
Hey, now.
perfect.
Nice, perfect.
Okay. So here's what I'm thinking about is
And
for
take
next
notes.
time. I would love it if this is not a requirement, but think about preparing something to play for the class. Either by yourself or with a backing track, or even put together a video that you can screen share with the class if you want to.
Or a sound recording. Maybe.
Yeah, or a sound recording, or just play it live in the class if you want to.
Sure.
Because that might be. Sometimes just the process of knowing that you have to prepare something like that other people are going to look at, there's that whole accountability thing. And again, I'm not going to require it. It's not the kind of thing you won't get thrown out if you don't have one. Nobody's going to get shamed for it. But I think if a couple of you can do it, I think it will help the group quite a bit on so many levels. Also be thinking about some of the things that you guys want to work on, and I've got tons of new material that I can bring up for next time too.
Do you want to hear the song I turned in this week?
Absolutely.
It's
This is the one with all of
directly.
the monster guitar solos, Julie?
No, that was a different one. This one has some guitar solos, but the main thing is it's a very, very close representation of Don't Take Me Alive. And since we were just talking about it, I thought,
What are the odds?
all right,
Yeah.
you want to hear it?
So what she did was she wrote a song based on
The chord changes and everything I loved about the song. But
yeah.
you'll see. You'll recognize it if you
It
know
was an
the tune.
assignment for the class.
Let me make sure you can hear it.
Yeah.
And then I had this crazy riff that I made. I thought it was going to be something else.
Yeah.
I ran to the G.
Need your guitar louder.
Oh, I'm just playing along with the track. Can you hear the track?
Yeah.
This solo's John.
I love how much space there is there in that.
What am I running from? Is something chasing me? Where can I hide on this bumpy ride of life? Can I be alone? Is it possible? that I've lost? Am I running from myself? Am I running from the truth?
It's the same melody.
Faced with the nightmare of everything I don't know now.
It doesn't sound anything like "Don't Take Me
I'm
Alive."
somewhere in the middle between not moving and moving too fast. Is this where I find possibilities? The magic of now.
Great doubling on the vocals too. I love it.
Freedom, liberate myself from pain. Learn to breathe through the multitude of feelings and sensations, of memories known and unknown. Recharge in this moment I have right now. Am I running from myself? Am I running from the truth? Faced with the nightmare of everything I don't know now. I'm somewhere in the middle between not moving and moving too fast. Is this where I find possibilities? The magic of now. Am I running from myself? Am I running from the truth? Faced with the nightmare of everything I don't know now. I'm somewhere in the middle between not moving and moving too fast. Is this where I find possibilities? The magic of now. Is this where I find possibilities? Is this where I find possibilities? Is this where I find possibilities? The magic of now.
So you can see I did. I
Very
still.
cool, Julie.
But
Nice.
if I ever want to release that, I would need to make some adjustments.
Right.
I get
Yeah,
Great
really
it's pretty
voice.
close.
Really
frustrated.
beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing is when you learn some others' music,
Yep.
you know, you take bits and pieces without even really knowing. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, I think you just picked out or pointed out a great practice technique too, which is take a song that you like, take the chord progression, break your own song over that progression.
Yeah, it's so
Fantastic.
fun. It really is fun.
Yeah, because it kind of frees you from that whole thing of like, I have to write something completely, original.
Exactly.
Because
Who knows
I'll
the
tell you
words?
something. One of the things that came out of that, there was this really interesting moment. When Julie was doing the solo, it's like she's doing the rhythm guitar parts. She sort of put together this little placeholder thing.
I just
where-
wanted to have the place because it's like do 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 bum bum.
Right. So she was just kind of playing these, playing those types of phrases against it.
Yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
So she had gone into the house. So what I started doing was just sort of improvising a counterpoint bass line against that thing. You know, and then there's a couple of moments when it was, like she plays this really cool little lick. So what I did was improvise, and then pick a couple of moments where I just double her lick,
Mhm.
along with her, and it kind of turned into something that was just became amazing.
We probably wouldn't have ever played it
Yeah.
just together. So I recorded the one part, and then he came in. It was the counterpoint. And then it was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that was just going to be a little placeholder.
Right.
But it was
Right.
fun.
If
And
that placeholder wasn't there, it wouldn't have given you the genesis of what you did, John.
Right.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
So yeah. So then the solo that she played over
Oh,
that was
Jane's
just sort
here.
of yeah.
Hi, Jane.
Very cool.
It took a little time. I forced you, since you're captive audience,
Yeah.
to listen to my music. All right, cool. Well, thanks for hanging with us, you guys. Have fun. Happy playing. I hope that you'll enjoy in the chat. Don't forget, you can download Come Dancing. And I found this cool sheet that John had handwritten, the Come Dancing solo. So
I had a
check
couple
that out.
questions
Okay, sure.
in the chat. Once we leave this Zoom, can I find that chat?
Oh, boy.
Or
you'll
is
have
it
to
gone?
download- It'll be gone.
So, like, my other Zoom group made a messenger group, say like on Facebook, strictly for the group, for those type of situations where we can share those things so it doesn't get lost.
Well,
For anybody who's not
what
on
I
Zoom, do
do,
you understand what I'm
do
saying?
you see the link to juliefin.com?
Yeah, I don't want to click it because I don't want to lose the Zoom.
Oh no,
so-
it's okay. It's okay. You're opened up in another app, but on that link, juliefin.com, find Julie's guitar, John and Julie's Guitar Club. Everything we've ever shared in any of the sessions is saved on there, and it's archived by date. There's links for every backing track and thing. So
Yeah.
as soon as we get
Okay,
finished,
so the main page.
the
Yeah.
main page. So right down below where you click the Zoom link, you'll
Awesome.
find
Okay.
all
There's
the
all the
stuff.
old ones. Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
My other thing,
I should have told
my other thing
everybody
was,
that.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
Good.
no. Go ahead.
My other thing was, remember when you were doing the A flat and we were all like finding the A flat?
Yes.
I had one guitar teacher teach me this other method, very, very similar. He said, visualize. So like we pick G, right? He says, don't look at your guitar, we'll find G first. And then visualize where the other G's are.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Without looking.
Pick one note. And what happens is if you do this before you play, it gives you your, you start to
course.
feel your basis. Right.
Of
So
course.
pick a different note.
Connect it.
Don't look. Do that. Same exercise.
Great,
and
great.
bam.
Love
really
it.
helps. I'm
I
not
love
that great
it.
at it, but I just thought I'd share
Like
that
that.
with you guys.
Thank you. I know, because sometimes I feel like I got to be looking at it. But I
Yeah.
think after all this time that all of us have been playing, we have this psychic connection. You know, we got to trust ourselves.
Yeah.
gotta
Hey,
trust.
Liam, could you do me a favor too? When you get a chance, would you send my email address is jfan@berkeley.edu.
Okay.
Would you send me a link to some of the music because I'd like to check it out actually.
Yeah. And don't forget, Liam sent the link to his song. in
Yeah.
the chat also.
That's the thing is
Maybe
yeah.
I'll put those things up too.
So
Yeah,
sorry,
by,
it was
by all means, because I'd like to check that out as well.
Yeah, because you got a lot of.
Okay, so
I
Liam,
wonder- oh wait, I remember. Okay, if you click on the three little dots in the chat next to the little smiley face, you can save the chat.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh,
So
where
Oh,
is
cool.
that? Oh, the smiley next to the. Okay,
you see the
save
three
chat.
dots?
Oh, thank you.
It'll probably
Woohoo!
save it as a little document or something.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere on there.
Yeah. So
All right.
so Liam, my email address is jfan@berkeley.edu, JFINN at
Yeah.
Berkeley spelled BERKLEE.edu.
cool.
All right.
So you want me to send you?
Just the link to
Please.
whatever the stuff you've been putting out. I'd love to hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can find it on Spotify. I'll just send you YouTube. It'll probably be the
Yeah.
easiest.
The rest of you aren't allowed to send me stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
John loves emails. John has 70,000 unread emails, but he does look at all.
Well,
If it's from you guys, if it's from
yeah, if it's from you guys, I will definitely read them and respond.
Yeah.
You know, but if it's from it's from print. You know, if it's from
Amazon.
Prince Umad from Kenya. You know,
with this $3 billion
Yeah.
that he's got to put
yeah,
in
he
your
keeps
account.
contacting me, telling me that you know, that my kitchen sink has a leak and that I'm going to win $1 million.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, he doesn't check those.
yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you choose to celebrate. We pray that it's happy and lovely, and we will see you January 9.
Thank you very much as always, guys.
Awesome.
Okay.
I hope
Thank
it's
you.
a happy holiday season.
Okay. Thank you. You
As
too.
always.